What's something you wish you could ask trans people without any judgment? What does it mean when you feel like a girl boy? I'm biologically female, and I identify as a woman, but I don't feel like a woman. I just am. So, what do you mean by that? Hashtag X200B, edit, whoa, I didn't expect this to have so many replies, lol. Thanks for taking your time to answering, guys. This is what confuses me the most. Like I can understand homosexuality, because, while I'm not attracted to the same sex, I do feel sexual attraction. But I don't really feel a sense of gender identity, so it's hard for me to empathize that that feeling could be directed wrongly? I dunno. I'm a trans woman who transitioned 20 years ago and I share your confusion. To the point where the actual joke in trans spaces used to be nobody other than Shania Twain feels like a woman lol. I have no idea what identifying as a woman means other than needing my body to be physically female, which was the whole point of me transitioning. Otherwise, the only feeling in that context was really the distress of my brain not matching my body, the pain and the distress from the disconnect. In that sense, it would be like talking about feeling the bones in your body, your bones don't feel like anything unless something's wrong, like snapping one in half lol. So in order for you to understand what I feel, it would require the same kind of disconnect, taking cross-sex hormones to start transitioning your body towards the wrong sex. Your bones don't feel like anything unless something's wrong. That just made it click for me. It never made sense to me before, but this does. For those born with unisex names such as Alex, do you still feel the need to change your name to reflect your new identity? My sister was born with a unisex name, but decided to change it when she transitioned. She chose an old lady type of name. I think it makes it easier for people that have known her since before she transitioned to get her pronouns right. She chose an old lady type of name. My mind immediately goes to Agnes. Nah, Eve. Oldest lady name in the book. Lilith starts laughing. They did say in the book, so. Is there any part of you that is genuinely worried that it is just a phase? Yeah. That's why it took me over 10 years to accept it and begin my transition. Does sitting down feel different after you get bottom surgery? At least for this one trans woman, sitting down the 3 months after bottom surgery is a bitch. You're still recovering and all the irritated flesh is very painful. Then eventually sitting down is the same except for the fact that I no longer have my privates in the way. However, for me personally, when I sit down my belly button feels weird because my nerve endings regrew incorrectly. A friend of mine in high school hated anything touching the area around his belly button. He could feel it in his balls. He said the doctors told him it was because his umbilical cord was cut incorrectly and the nerves found another pathway. I never thought about it going the other way. Edit. 1. I did not realize this was as common as it is. After just 3 minutes of Googling I learned what a pudendal nerve is. My.clevelandclinic.org too. This was in the rural South 20-ish years ago. The doctor's explanation sounds like an old wives' tale now. Apologies for commenting bad information. 3. This person most likely has a very sensitive nerve, many more nerve endings because he did not like hugs unless it was from the side because it hurt. It wasn't just deep belly button but more like most of his belly. 4. I do not get that feeling no matter how hard I try, so am apparently in the minority. 5. I do have some nerve damage due to a herniated disc in my lumbar spine, but I don't remember ever having that feeling before my injury. TLDR, it's normal. Till not everyone feels the touch on their belly button and their genitals, men's just not wired right, another reason to stay awake at night. I can't stand that feeling as a guy. My ex used to push my belly button to tease me and I almost threw up from the weird feeling in my balls. Wow, I didn't consider that this wasn't a typical thing until this thread, and now I'd kinda feel. I unquestionably thought this was the norm. I didn't even think about it. Now I know there are PPL out there who have belly buttons disconnected from their vagina. Wild. Surprising to find out. Sometimes I feel like a line going from my belly button to my vagina for no reason. I hate that feeling. I assume this is similar to what everyone's saying. I could never find anything online lol. Meanwhile, I'm over here reading this thread thinking all of you are ducking with us. Just spent 5 minutes poking and messing with my belly button and felt nothing. I have also never met anyone before who had a belly button connected to their nethers. What happens if you get punched in the gut or fall and land on your stomach or hit your stomach or anything like that? Also, does having an innie or an outie make difference? I'm a small guy and even I hit my stomach on shit all the time. Does it hurt or tingle? I know you're a girl, but if any of the dudes see this, does getting hit in the gut feel like getting hit in the balls? I'm sorry for all the questions, but this is literally the first time in almost 29 years I have heard of this. I feel like a kid learning how to count lol. So glad I'm not the only one who's just been sitting here rubbing my belly and feeling lied to. I don't have a question, I just want to say this has been a great thread to read. I didn't scroll all the way to the bottom, but what I saw has been uncharacteristically respectful and informative. All the questions I had that I've been afraid to ask have been answered, and they make sense as well. Thanks. I feel asking my question, am going to have people come for me. But, I believe education is important and I want to understand things I don't know. So, when a man transitions into a woman, he understand that they take hormone replacement therapy, that must be brutal BTW, yet I still see a lot of trans women with beards. I might be ignorant in asking this, but if you have gone to so much time, effort and money to transition to become a woman, why would you not shave, since facial hair is predominantly a very masculine feature? Edit, thank you for sharing your personal private experiences with me. I have answers that I didn't even consider, as well as being educated on some of the personal struggles you experience. I am pleased that, for the most part, this entire post from Op has been constructive, helpful and earnest. Thank you. Facial hair removal can be a nightmare. HRT doesn't reduce facial hair much, if at all. Laser is expensive and can be ineffective, also isn't considered fully permanent. That leaves electrolysis, which they stick a needle into the base of the hair, electrocute it, then pluck the hair. It takes on average 6 tries to properly kill a follicle. Which means 100 hours or more of really painful hair removal. That being said, the actual numbers of trans women with visible beards are really low. It's just that you notice the ones with visible beards a whole lot more. Edit, because it's always the same comments, yes, people can shave. It's also an absolute bitch when you're trying to make it so there's not even the slightest beard shadow. For some of us, it meant shaving twice a day and a heavy layer of concealer and foundation. Decent razors aren't cheap either. Alternatively, some folks just don't give a shit. Maybe they don't care about their perceived gender, or want to buck gender norms, or think beards look hot on women. I dunno the reasoning for everyone. But yeah, shaving sucks ass too. Edit number 2, yep, safety razors are way cheaper for a hell of a good shave, if you get used to them. I never got the hang of them and usually look like I got mauled by a bear. I'm a cis woman and I can attest to this. I had PCOS and basically ended up with a full beard because of the increased testosterone. That started when I was in my early 20s. I was 42 before I could afford all the electrolysis needed to get rid of it. Each session was $120 for 45 minutes. I went weekly for over a year. I still have a couple stubborn hairs that grow, but I just plucked those for now. I'll probably go back and get them zapped at some point. Oh, and I do have scars on my skin from years of ingrown hairs from plucking. Edit, hey, guys, sorry to sort of hijack things when the question is about trans people and trying to have a healthy conversation about that, and I am not trans. Facial hair removal is something we have in common, but the PCOS part would only be with some trans men, and that likely changes the whole conversation around that. Anyway, it wasn't my intention to bring all the attention to myself. I do hope some folks receive some helpful information about hypothyroidism, PCOS, and other hormone topics, though. As a man with a beard, I can weirdly empathize with you massively. I can only imagine the time and pain it would take to remove every hair that has grown on my face. I cringe at the thought of it. You're a goddamn warrior for going through that. I hope you feel better in your skin having gone through all that. Thanks. I am much more confident. My motivation was very basic. I was single again after the end of a 20-year marriage. After 2 years of grieving that I was ready to date. But, whereas I was married when I developed the hormone issues that caused me to grow facial hair, therefore my ex-husband was desensitized to it, I was mortified at the idea of meeting and potentially developing a new intimate relationship while having morning stubble, etc. But, then I was asking myself, why didn't I do it sooner? It was worth the cost and the discomfort. No more ingrown hairs causing scars. Very little maintenance, etc. I work in medicine. Oftentimes it can be apparent that someone may be transitioning, but it's never right to assume anything about anyone. You'll usually see their given name before I meet them, and it's standard practice to have a PT confirm with their legal name and DOB. What do you think is the best way of being asked if you have a preferred first name other than what is legal in that situation? I usually stumble with something like, "Hi, I'm looking for John Doe, is that you? Nice to meet you, is John okay or do you go by another name?" But it always feels clunky. Looking for advice. Edit, My main clinical setting is an urban hospital in a large network of hospitals. This makes any change to charting intake very well out of my reach, unfortunately. It is a discussion that I hope continues to climb to the administrators. Whenever I work with someone, I address them by the name on file, then ask if they have a preferred name. Every single one. Sometimes you get Jim from James. Sometimes you get Amelia from Clark. You never know if a Richard is actually a Dick. How do you get Dick from Richard? Ask nicely,